Good afternoon from sunny Miami. This is Dr. John Bennett. Today we have the pleasure of having Gidi Stein, the creator of Medaware, a platform that tries to cut down on the number of errors in EHRs, and we'll find out the particulars of that when we talk to Gidi. Welcome, Gidi.
Hi, thank you. Thank you, John.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time to come today. And first we'll just go, just some questions that anyone would have of someone that's done something that you've done. As far as your computer background, did you, when you were a kid, did you always know you liked computers? You grew up with computers, right?
Well, actually, no. I never had anything to do with computers until I was 18. Then I studied math, computer science, worked in several startups in the early 90s here in Israel. And at some point, I had enough with the startup world and vowed never to do it again, and went to medical school. At the age, I was almost 30 years old, and graduated medical school, specialized in internal medicine. Then became deputy head of an internal medicine ward in Rabin Medical Center, which is one of Israel's largest hospitals. In parallel, I did a PhD in computational biology, applying big data analytics and genomics and expression data to try to cure cancer. And actually, I came back to the world of computing following a real case of a 9-year-old boy who died when his primary care physician simply clicked on the wrong entry in the pull-down menu list and gave him the wrong drug by mistake. Mm-hmm. And that terrible incident led me back to think that something must be done. And here we are.
That was how long ago?
That was about 3 years ago.
3 years ago. Now, computational biology, I didn't even know there was such a subject. Is that what you said, computational biology, that you took?
Yeah, it's a combination of biology and computers. Now, most of the experiments in biology are deeply involved with lots of data, numerical data, RNA expression, DNA sequencing, huge amounts of numbers, and you need some really tough algorithms and technological savvy to make sense of this data.
So biology has changed. It's not strictly it's some type of biology. Or is all biology incorporates computers now? It's been a while since I've been in school.
Well, basically yes, because up until 20 years ago, each researcher focused on one specific protein, and he started learning the surrounding of that protein. But now we know that proteins interact with each other in hundreds and thousands of ways. And the amount of data that we have on these interactions is so huge that you can't do it manually. You have to use high-powered computings to sort this out.
So having a background in this science allowed you to grasp the way you'd approach the problem with the child that died? Yes,
because if you look at the error that killed the boy, it wasn't bad judgment on the part of that physician. It was a slip-up, a mix-up. It's like killing someone with a typo. And if you look at the current available solutions, they are usually all in the area of rule-based systems, meaning that someone sat and wrote a list of hundreds of rules or thousands of rules, which each prescription is filtered by. And there are two inherent problems with these type of solutions. The first, it's like looking under the lamppost. I mean, you will find only the types of alerts that you're looking for, and that means you miss many of them. Most of them you won't never catch. And the second problem, according to the medical literature, more than 90% of the alerts that are provided by the current solutions are false alarms, and that what drives into what is called alert fatigue, in which the physicians disregard the alert altogether, and then practically get nothing. So we thought of approaching this problem from a different angle, very similar to the way that credit cards companies deal with fraud. I mean, when you go in your daily routine, in your grocery shop, gas station, over time, a pattern emerges on how you personally use your credit card, and it also relates to customers like you. And if your credit card would pop up tomorrow morning in Zimbabwe, for example, it would be an outlier to your specific behavior as a customer and to the behavior of customers like you. So we do the same thing with medicines. So if after following hundreds of thousands of patients and physicians, patterns emerge on how we use medicine, and what are the prescription patterns that we use in daily life, in real time. And then if a prescription is an outlier, then we can identify that statistically and flag it as a potential error. For example, if just looking at birth control pills, 99.9% of all patients who are prescribed with birth control pills are females, obviously. So if a male would be prescribed, it will be a statistical outlier, not only something which is idiotic, but basically it will be a statistical outlier, and you can use algorithms to detect it. So of course, this is a very simple example, but you can take it to thousands of medications and automatically understand the prescription patterns of the physicians.
Do you have access to a huge database? Like, it sounds like you needed access to something like Watson, a huge database.
So we started off with 3 retrospective clinical trials in Israel, in 2 large hospitals and 1 large HMO, which is community services. We analyzed about 425,000 lives with more than 44 million prescriptions. And all the prescriptions that we have analyzed were not flagged by the current state-of-the-art solutions. So they were okayed by the current systems. And out of these 400,000 patients, we found almost 6,000 with life-threatening prescription errors associated with early mortality, longer hospital lengths of stay, and recurrent admissions. And when we sat down with the physicians who actually wrote these prescriptions on a sample of them to see how accurate we were, we found 2 interesting things. The first is that we were very accurate. More than 90% of the alerts that we found were true alerts. What most troubling in it was that in the vast majority of the cases, the physicians were unaware that an error had happened until we have showed it to them in their own data, including case fatalities, in which we have shown the physician, here's where you made a mistake, here you didn't notice, and here the patient died. This is not an easy conversation with the physician, but this reflects the holes that we found in the data. And this is not, as I said, bad judgment. These are statistical errors. For example, a 1-year-old baby being prescribed with Viagra, or a healthy patient being prescribed with chemotherapy because it has a sound alike like a drug for diabetes, or a 90-year-old dementic patient being prescribed with fertility drugs. Obviously, anyone who looks at it knows that it's a complete error. But in the rules of the big numbers, you will always find, even if it's a 1 in a million shot, there are 4 billion prescriptions in the US each year. That means 4,000 crazy things will happen. But we found many more. 1 in 100 patients in primary care would have life-threatening prescription error that we found, and 1 in 50 patients in hospital would have similar alerts.
Is the hospital setting a variable? I don't know if that's the word to use in computer language, where you kind of adjust to the setting. Because I know when I worked in the emergency room, a lot of the errors were picked up by nurses because the scenario was different, where you say, oh, give the patient this. And you don't silently type on an EMR. Do you know what I'm saying? Settings are different. Settings are different. Is that one of the variables you guys incorporate?
So definitely, for our system to work, we need a fully computerized EMR, EHR system embedded along with a CPOE, which is a system for electronic prescribing, fully installed and integrated in that hospital. And today, even in the ER, in many of the places, and in Israel, practically in most hospitals, the prescribing is completely electronic.
Okay.
That being said, many of the errors are still found and caught by the nurses, and
Right.
they're a great safety net, but that's not sufficient. It's only 40%.
Yeah, well, I definitely can remember some mistakes that the nurse would say, wait, don't do that. I mean, they would catch me. But I think probably the ER is probably the same because you have to give the drugs quickly, but obviously it's different in every part of the hospital. So you assembled, once you had this idea, you assembled a team, or you had a team already that was doing other projects? How did that work?
So when I had this idea, I went to consult with one of my advisors when I was a PhD, which is Professor Eitan Rupin. He was a professor in Tel Aviv University, both MD and PhD, specializing in computational biology. He's now the director of the Center of Bioinformatics in the University of Maryland. Really a great guy, very smart. And talking to him, suggested I joined with his first PhD student from 15 years ago, Dr. Tuvik Becker, who specializes in machine learning algorithms. And the three of us actually founded the company, and we're now 3 years in the process.
Did you do all the coding? I know that's not easy. You a coder?
Yeah, well, actually, I coded the prototype.
Oh, wow.
But you know, we were a year and a half in a garage, so we had ourselves. So I coded the first part of the system. But once we got funded, we started recruiting, and we're now a group of 7.5 employees. Half so is part-time. Out of them are 5 exceptional algorithm experts and software engineers, you know, PhDs, algorithm experts, one of the smartest guys you can find. And one of, I'm sorry, that was my cat jumping over my computer.
Oh, okay.
So one of the most striking thing about the team is that they were willing to come and work for the company because there are very little instances in which algorithm guys have a real ability to save lives.
Right.
It's a great opportunity. You know, physicians do it, firemen do it, algorithm guys rarely do it, and this was a wonderful opportunity for them, and that's basically what we do.
Being an amateur coder, what language do you use? What coding languages did you use to put that together?
Java.
The whole thing is Java?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know enough about Java to ask any intelligent questions about it. But okay, let's just go over your website. I'm gonna share here, and then you can kind of take us through to give us a little structure to the project. Okay, this is a nice looking website. Okay, could you just take us through this, please?
Sure. So first of all, there's a nice video about a minute or two that explains in brief what we do. And you know, Medaware, we're eliminating prescription errors. This is basically what we do using machine learning algorithms applied on big data analytics. Mm-hmm. On the bottom, you can see that if you can just roll over the circles.
Okay.
So about $21 billion a year is the estimated preventable wasteful healthcare cost in the US associated with medication-related errors. Mm-hmm. And 2% of prescription errors are potentially fatal, and that's something that we found. 1.5 million preventable medication errors in the US result in severe injury or death. And the numbers are huge. Thousands of patients every year die, and that's only in the US from medication-related errors.
One quick question. One quick question, Gidi. What drugs are really going to watch? There must be a group of drugs that are you have to be very careful with. Have you identified a group of, say, like 10 or 20 drugs that you have to pay special attention to that cause most of the fatalities?
Well,
or all kinds of drugs can do it.
Well, it's not all kinds of drugs, but basically what we're looking for is giving the wrong drug to the wrong patient at the wrong time.
Oh, okay.
That means that the drug that may be right for someone can kill another in a different situation. Let me give you an example. If a patient with diabetes gets insulin, it can save his life. If a patient without diabetes gets insulin by mistake, it can kill him.
Right.
So, for example, the error that killed the boy was that he was prescribed. The physician wanted to prescribe him with Singulair, which is a drug for asthma for kids, but by mistake he clicked on Synthron, which is warfarin, a very potent anticoagulant. And the boy fell off his bike a week later and died of intracranial hemorrhage. And so warfarin, for example, could be a life-saving medication for patients with atrial fibrillation or any coagulation problems. So it's just that the wrong drug to the wrong patient at the wrong time, the positive effect for one patient can be the negative effect for another patient.
You must have got some good feedback from hospitals when you're doing your work, because it seems like they would welcome a technology like this.
So yes. So basically, two of the institutions that we piloted in Israel are now in the process of deploying our system at the second phase of the trial, which is a live installation. So we'll be able to catch the errors in real time and prevent the catastrophes. And following the success of our Israeli pilots, we are now in the last stage of a large retrospective pilot with the Brigham and Women's Hospital in Boston, analyzing almost 800,000 lives from the outpatient clinics of Mass General Hospital and the Brigham and Women's Hospital, all part of Harvard Medical School. And I hope to have the results of that pilot soon, so we can actually show that in numbers how much lives and how much money for hospitals our system can save.
What is the equivalent of the FDA in Israel? Must be an agency, correct, that approves technologies and drugs?
Yes, but usually they go after the FDA. I mean, everything that is FDA approved is usually approved by the Israeli authorities.
Oh, okay. Where do you stand with that FDA approval? You're still in trials, right?
So first, we're still in trial, but we're not required for FDA regulation because our system is not directly customer-facing. We are behind the scenes, behind the walls, behind the EMR, and we don't make suggestions. We don't advise the physician, please take this drug. We're just providing a statistical measure. Say, listen, less than 0.1% of physicians would prescribe this in this situation. Now, you can do whatever you want, but we're just saying.
So this
is very uncommon.
Yes, it's feedback for a possible error, and it's presented to the physician, and they can do what they want with that information, correct?
Exactly. So we're very careful not to suggest anything that we might be liable for, because we know that the limitation of machine learning algorithms is that sometimes the recommendations are silly, and that silliness can kill someone. So not to try to do that.
Okay, let's go to another page. We'll go through your team. Maybe this is repetitious here. Is this the best page to show your team?
Yeah.
Okay.
So myself, the CEO, Galit, our operations officer, Dror, and this is a list of our team. Many of them are veterans of the prestigious Talpiyot
Wow.
unit in Israel.
Wow. 5 programmers. Wow.
And three of them algorithm experts, and even many of them. And that unit is special because they take between 25 youngsters at the age of 18, fresh out of high school, and take them to the university and teach them math and computer science and physics. And really the elite of the elite people in Israel, and then they can choose whatever unit they want to be. Usually get to the top places in the army, in the industry afterwards. And the fact that 3 of my team are veterans of that unit is says something about the quality of the people.
Mm. So Israel has some good programmers.
Oh, excellent programmers.
Really? Okay.
Really.
Okay.
Yes.
Is there anything we need to see in the solutions page or
Maybe on the board, a few words about our advisory board.
advisory board? Okay. Boards. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you could just scroll down. So Ziv Ofek was the founder of dbMotion, which was acquired by Allscripts, which is an EMR vendor, in 2013 for
Okay.
$235 million.
Okay.
dbMotion actually integrated data and from different sources, and now every physician in Israel has the ability to see the full view of every patient that he wishes from different locations, which is a huge benefit, especially if you compare it to the fragmented healthcare system in the US. So Ziv is very experienced in the healthcare IT domain. He's a good friend, and he's on our board and extremely helpful in navigating the ship. Professor Isaac Cohen is one of the world-renowned medical informatics professor from Harvard Medical School. He's also a physician specializing in children's medicine and leading one of the world's largest labs in medical informatics. Ori Karev, also on our advisory board, he has many years in the healthcare industry on the payer side. He was the CEO of United Healthcare International Division for many years and lived many years in the US. And he's helping us, on our steps into the US, especially on the payer side.
You got some big minds on board.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything we need to see solutions or where should we go next?
I think basically we talked about the solutions.
Oh, the other things. Okay. Okay. Very good. Let me get off the screen share here. Did you approach Allscripts, or was that an idea from the very beginning, or is it an idea that came to you once you developed your algorithms and your platform?
So after we integrated with Israel's leading EMR for hospitals, which is not relevant to the US, and after Ziv Ofek joined the team, he had obviously very good connections as his company was bought by Allscripts. So he helped us becoming members in the Allscripts development program. And we're now almost finished integrating with Allscripts, and this is a great opportunity for us to enter the US market.
Okay, so they can incorporate in the USA now in their Allscripts platform. Can they do that, or do they have to have some type of approval in the States?
So it's an add-on to Allscripts. It's not an integral part of the system.
Okay.
So, but that means that if we want to sell the product to a hospital which uses Allscript, the integration would be very easy.
Oh, okay. And it's optional for the hospital to get that?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Okay, a very ambitious program, and it sounds like a great idea, especially if it helps prevent medication errors as serious as the ones you described. And we wish you luck, and I'm going to send you the URL, and people can get a hold of you from the website, medaware.com.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. So, okay, let us know of any new developments.
Okay.
Okay, and thank you for the time, Gidi. Just hold on for a second while I sign off.